Welcome to another Cardano update. Like always, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts and if you want access to our daily Discord updates. And I'm sorry for posting this video late today, I had some stuff to do. And right off the bat, I want to talk about the monthly Cardano chart because what's happening right now is gonna be very important. And if we actually get another drop by the end of today, that could actually put us below the moving average on the monthly RSI, and we do not want to see that because that would actually break everything. And usually when we get below the moving average on the monthly RSI, that's when Cardano drops even more. So if we stay above it, it's going to be bullish for April and May. However, if we drop below it, it's going to be very bearish. Now I can actually show you an example for this. Here, for example, when we dropped below it, we actually stayed below it for like 4 months. So we definitely do not want to drop below it, and we definitely want to see a bounce right now, or at least stay above it for today. Now tomorrow we could get a move to the downside and we could get below it, but that's gonna be April and that's gonna be fine because there's still gonna be time, like 1 month, to actually get back above it. So it's fine if we do that. But yeah, it cannot happen today because if we look at what happened in the previous cycle, when we were at this, part of the cycle, this 1-2-1-2 setup, we did not get below the moving average on the monthly RSI here. We actually used it as support, and that's what triggered the altcoin season. Well, of course, that's not exactly what triggered the altcoin season, but this was a bullish indicator, and right now we kind of need to see the exact same thing. Also, speaking of what happened here the RSI was also below the moving average, just like it was right here. So far we have the exact same pattern, it's the exact same uptrend, and what we're waiting for right now is this move right here, which I still think that it will happen by the end of May. Now, if it doesn't happen, well, I don't know, but if it does happen, then I told you so. So let's also look at the 4-hour chart because Cardano is currently dropping. Well, it did drop a couple of hours ago, and well, it did not really drop that much. I told you this on the Discord server. Our 1-2 setup that we had here got invalidated. However, we did not invalidate the whole setup, meaning that we could still, get a bounce right now. As long as we stay above 58.2 cents, we are fine. However, if we drop below this low right here, which is the second wave low, we will invalidate the whole 1, 2, 3, 4 setup, and we will most likely get another low in the main second wave, well, the second wave of the third wave, and then we could actually get a bounce. This could be a double bottom. I've been talking about this scenario for many weeks, I think even months at this point, so this should not shock you. Like I said yesterday, we dropped below the trend line right here, and we are also below the 200-day moving average, which is not great. By the way, that's the blue line on the chart. We used it as support a couple of times in the past, and as you can see, we always bounced, but we did not bounce here, and yeah, we are still below it. Right now, what we need to do is get back above the trend line. It's at about 68.5 cents. It's probably going to act as resistance, and then if we get above it, we would have to get above the 200-day moving average. That's at 72.6 cents or so, and then above the bull market support band, and that's at about 90 cents. So there's obviously a lot of work to be done, but I think we are getting close to something finally happening. I think if the market actually survives until the end of the day, we could see a bounce in April, and that bounce could be pretty significant. But like I said, there's also the possibility of a double bottom, which could put Cardano at 50 cents again. And well, from where we're at right now, it's not gonna be a big deal because as you can see, right now we're at about 65 cents or so. This would be another 22% drop, so it's not gonna be the end of the world if it does happen. However, it will invalidate our setup right here, and this means that we're gonna have to wait for another, 1-2 setup to the upside, and that could be boring. So yeah, we kind of need this to hold right now, and if it doesn't, well, it's just gonna take longer for us to get to our targets. Now, what are the targets? Well, first we need to get back above the 0.618 resistance level of the previous all-time high, which is at $1.14. As you can see, we got rejected here a bunch of times. We actually got rejected here, so about 4 times in total. And well, yeah, I mean, we kind of need to get back above it if we actually want to see any kind of, altcoin season. Now, before I talk about that, let me actually talk about Bitcoin as well, and let's go on the 4-hour for this. If you go on the Bitcoin chart, as you can see, it's currently getting a bounce. However, I mean, the price did go up from 81k to like 83k, but you know, it's not really that much. And when you look at the RSI actually went up a lot, and this is actually not that good. It's actually bearish. So yeah, unless we get back above the 200-day moving average, I'm not going to, you know, turn bullish, because we could always drop, you know, lower and get to the 50% extension right here in the fourth wave move down before we continue. Now, I still think that Bitcoin will hit about $140,000 by the end of May if we actually do what we did in the previous couple of cycles, and if our weekly pattern, you know, keeps repeating. If you don't know what I'm talking about, basically these lows right here happen every couple of months, and well, this was a 22% drop, this was a 32% drop, and this was another 30% drop, and the exact low of this was like 25k, the next low was 50k, and this low right here was 75k, meaning that the next low could be about 100k if we continue this pattern. And if the next low is 100k, we have to get to about 140,000 to 150,000 by the end of May, because usually Bitcoin drops during the summer. And well, if it drops during the summer, we can look at how much it dropped in the previous cycles. Here in 2021 it dropped like 55%, here in 2017 it dropped like 38%, and in 2013 this was an 80% drop. So we don't know how much it's going to drop, but you know, you could say that it's gonna drop at least like 30%. Now if it drops like 50%, that's still gonna be fine, because that's what usually happens in a summer drop. But until that happens, we could still see another bounce, and then we could get the, you know, summer drop in the summer. And like I said in my previous videos, in the previous cycle, the 2017 cycle, I'm sorry, in the 2017 cycle we had about 5 corrections in the post-halving year, so it's definitely possible to get even more in this cycle. So far we've had 3, so there's still time to get more. And also I need to talk about Ethereum, because Ethereum is showing another reaction to the support zone. As you can see, this is the main 0.618 support level. Let me go on the daily, and yeah, this is a second reaction. We have a double bottom right here, and the could be in, but that cannot be confirmed until we actually get, you know, any kind of 5-way move to the upside. And also we need to get back above the 200-day moving average and above the bull market support band, and in order to do that we have to get back above $3,000. And honestly, this could happen extremely soon, just because when I look at the RSI on the weekly chart, I mean, we did not get to the oversold territory, and I said that it is possible to do it. However, if we do not get to the oversold territory, we could still see a bounce, because the RSI is nowhere near close to being overbought. Now if we did get another low and drop to like $1,400, that would make the weekly RSI oversold, and in the history of Ethereum it has only been oversold 2 times in the past, and both of these times it was a bear market low. So if something like this happens right now, it's definitely going to be very, very bullish. And well, me personally, I already bought some Ethereum at $1,850, and I did that like a couple of, you know, weeks ago, I think, when we actually got this low. So it was actually like let's see, about 2-3 weeks ago or so. And yeah, that's when I bought. Now of course, if it goes lower, I will lose money in the short term, but I don't really plan on selling until we get to like at least 5,000, so I think I'm fine. Now I also want to look at the Bitcoin dominance chart. If you look at the RSI, or at the 4-hour RSI, it's overbought again, and this usually does not mean anything. However, we also were overbought right here, and as you can see, after that we dropped from like 62% all the way down to like about 60% in a matter of like a couple of days. So we could get some type of correction, and if we do, it would actually make sense, considering the fact that Ethereum just reacted to the support zone for a second time. So things are actually looking very, very good, but you just need some patience right now. Now also, if you look at the Ethereum chart, as you can see on the 4-hour chart, it went to the oversold territory. And well, we are seeing a bounce, but this is also nothing to, you know, be concerned about, at least not yet, because the price went up like $100 and the RSI exploded. So this is actually very bearish, and well, I'm not a fan of this. And we could still get another low, because we don't really have anything that could tell us that the low is in. And well, if you go back on the Cardano chart, I mean, Cardano is still in an uptrend, and I know people are getting bored right now and they are blaming me for their financial investments, even though at the beginning of the video it literally says that this is not financial advice. Now, I don't think I'm gonna have that in this video, because I'm gonna have to edit this video myself. But even that, I mean, when you look at the chart, it's the exact same setup that we had in the previous cycle, and people are just not patient, and they are blaming me somehow for, you know, losing money because they bought it like $1.30 up here, even though I said it's a really bad idea to buy up here because we will need a second wave move down at some point, and what do you know, it happened. So yeah, I mean, if you have not watched my videos, maybe don't comment, because I mean, these comments are just stupid in my opinion, and there's nothing to learn from them. They just come here and they expect me to say that Cardano will get to like $50, and I think that's just idiotic. And well, I don't really have anything else. I mean, the target for the third wave is the exact same. I'm not going to repeat myself every single video. So I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon. If you want access to all of our charts and if you want access to our daily Discord updates, like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.